Hi everybody! I hope you're all doing well. I'm going to be getting connected with Hekate today. So Hekate is the Greek goddess of magic. And so I pulled this up so I could actually tell you all the different things she's the goddess of. So goddess of magic, witchcraft, the night, moon, ghosts, and necromancy. And I have actually had this beautiful opportunity to connect with Hekate a few times, and I was always very impressed by her ways. She's kind of scary because she challenges you. She makes you feel extremely vulnerable and puts you on the spot with yourself. And she's never been a very good looking. Every time I've visited her, she's like she likes to portray herself as very, 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 very ugly. And I love that about her because it's almost like she has this background story where if she could be this ugly and you would still love her, then it would prove you. It would be like a test to prove your truth, who you are truly inside. It would prove your heart. And so by expressing herself in this way, now she makes you vulnerable. She's not vulnerable being this ugly, warty, giant-nosed, nasty-looking witch. She's cool with it. But are you? Can you be comfortable sitting at her table? Could you be comfortable eating her soup? So she creates vulnerability. And I love her because she challenges you. And I wanted to connect with Hekate because I'm going through this very unique and special self-exploration of identity, which is why I have new hair all the time. But I'm like super into the blonde hair. So you know what? You can love me with my brown hair. You can love me with the wig. But in the end, it's all about the wisdom, all right? It's all about the deeper message and the learning that we discover together. So in the process of this wig experiment, which I've needed, I've been discovering something really cool. Okay, so here I am sharing myself with all of you on YouTube and doing it differently, okay? And doing it differently can make people feel a little weird, and some people will appreciate me for it, and some people will not. You know, it's just the way of the world. But I've been loving myself more. Not because of the hair, but because of who I am without it. So when I share myself this way on YouTube, I get to be some other persona of me. But when I'm done with this video and I take this wig off and I see myself for who I truly am, I actually love me more for the real true me than this pretend me. It's kind of neat. I don't know how else to explain it other than you should try this. You really should try this. You should try to alter something about yourself in a way that allows you to return to your identity quite quickly, to discover how much you appreciate just being you. It's easier to be yourself in the end than to be anybody else. It really is. And I'm discovering that too. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I do these kind of psychological experiments. I use myself as the test subject to see how I relate, or what does my psyche need right now and why does it need that exactly? Okay, now if I feed that psychological need, then what is the response? I do this, okay? And so a few years ago, I wanted to explore what it was to be 100% natural human being. So as a woman, that means hairy armpits and legs and all that. And how does the world embrace a hairy woman? A disgusting, nasty, hairy, natural woman. It's freaking gross, right? It's the nasty, Hecate, ugly witch of a woman that nobody wants. But yet it is God's creation. This is the divine feminine here. Hairy armpits and all is the divine feminine here. And so I did that. And it was very hard, I will say, because you get looked at. So where I live, people, it's not normal. You shave your armpits and your legs. And so if you don't do that, you either must be European or gross or weird or something. And so I explored how it made me feel just for myself, to expose myself in a way that might make other people comfortable also makes me uncomfortable, because I don't have confidence in being my natural self, because the world doesn't allow me to have that confidence. But why do I need the world to give me the confidence? Why can't I give that confidence to myself? But I explored this for 6 months, and eventually I went back to what is the societal norm. But in doing so, I learned a lot about me and about being human. I've also done this where I didn't do anything with my hair or makeup for 6 straight months, and I went to work, and you look different. If you're a girl, you're used to wearing makeup and doing your hair, and then suddenly you don't do any of those things, people actually look at you strange too, because you look noticeably different, like you don't care anymore about your appearance. And I did that for 6 months in order to learn more about what it is to just be myself, to be natural, and how people will react to me. But how do I react to myself as well? So this wig is also a bit of a gift to myself, just in order to experience myself in a new way, in order to heal some parts of me that have always wanted to have long hair, and I can't grow my hair longer than this. Maybe I can if I really put some energy, work, effort into it, but I don't invest time in it. I need something quick and easy, okay? So buying a wig is like the quickest, easiest way to transform your identity. So I do that. And now I'm having this this amazing new reborn love of myself. And I didn't expect that. And that is really cool. That is really cool. So you can see why Hecate is kind of an energetic theme for self-love. And I also feel this Merlin energy. And I have not been able to stop thinking about that Merlin channeling, mainly because Merlin, I swear, is like so boring and practical and like such a realist. And I want him to be more magical, but yet I find that to be the most wonderful aspect about him, is that he is true to being as real and true to the world and to himself as you could possibly be, and that's what makes him magical. And so something about that is the magic. The real you is the magic. The real world is the magic, you know? And Hecate, this goddess of magic, and what I've experienced from her and what I'm exploring in my own world, I think she would have a phenomenal message for all of us today, for myself. So I just wanted to give you a little introduction and maybe help you understand what's going on in my world and why I'm exploring this. I have no idea how long this will last. Maybe for the rest of my life, maybe for another few videos, I don't know. So we'll just see what happens, okay? A psychological experiment that is also self-healing, and it's growing and expanding my soul. So, all right, you ready for this? You ready for this? Okay, I'm gonna relax now. Hecate. I'm honestly kind of nervous to channel her because she can make me feel very vulnerable, which is the only true way to know yourself. So it's the vulnerabilities that we will ignore, and we will pretend that they aren't there, or we'll override them with ego, or we'll override them with a fancy new car and really nice clothes or whatever. But really there's a fear going on here, and she will intimidate you, which helps you to find those fears inside yourself so you can start working on them. And so I don't know what she's going to be like, but she can be intimidating, okay? All right, Hecate, okay. Hecate, I'd really like to experience your beautiful energy and wisdom, and to share a special message with all of us today. And I'm really curious what you would like to say to inspire transformation and healing and self-awareness for us. All right, this is so it's a rounded shape, and there's 4 sides to it. So if you were to draw an X into a sphere, it's got rounded triangular looking parts. And so I'm looking into a sphere and it's rounded. It's kind of hard on my eyes to look at this image for too long because it's a kind of distorted. It's not flat. It's got a depth to it, but it's oddly hard on my eyes. Okay. She shows me another image. So we have this image looking into it, right? What does it mean? I have no idea. This next image, though, I see a woman and she's it's like a Victorian type dress. It's a kind of a pinkish color. It's got ruffles in it. And she's on the ground. She has her hands shackled behind her back, and she's throwing up on this rough ground. And it's like she's underground. And it's a very big open space. And it's lit. I mean, this like candlelight down here. So you can see. You can see enough. And she's very afraid. She's very afraid because she doesn't know what's going to happen, but she knows that where she is and what is going on is going to equate to something quite bad. Something that would be a great nightmare to her. And now Hekate shows me that I'm simply looking into a droplet of water. And you could say this is a droplet of pure water. You could say this is a teardrop. She asks if I know the difference between a teardrop and a droplet of water, as if it had fallen from the sky. Is there a difference? This is important because she talks about energy and the information that we express even through the waters of our body is different than the energy expressed through the waters of nature. So this teardrop possesses information about her. It comes from within her. This teardrop comes from inside of her. If you could see your tears as precious, as pearls, they're gifts. They give you access to your own identity. Tears do. And how many of you don't want to cry anymore? She shows rain that is pure, and then she shows acid rain. And both are trying to accomplish the same thing, which is purification. When it rains, it is nature purifying itself. When the human cries, it is a human purifying that human self. So when you cry, see it as a purification process. Allow the tears to come. Allow the tears to fall. And love yourself for choosing to be emotionally expressive. And she finds tears to be extremely precious gifts. She's talking about Merlin a bit. It's like a divine masculine and a divine feminine. You know what's interesting? So I haven't seen this in a while, but there's this like kid like witch show on Netflix, and I was super sucked into it because it's easy to watch and it's fun and it's good. It's kind of like a simplified version of Harry Potter, but for girls, for witch girls. And there's two in this school. One's an old woman, one's an old man, and they're lovers or companions, and they're quite adorable together. And so she's kind of reflecting this goofy wizard, this awkward goofy wizard that had been transformed into like a frog for a lot of years, suddenly turns back to a man but still carries some of his frog personality. So he's goofy, right? And then she's quite forgetful and just not all there. She's old, okay? So she's showing me herself as this woman, this magical witch teacher, and then Merlin is this sort of goofy wizard. And they're standing side by side. And she's talking about compatibility and love, and what makes two compatible with each other, what draws two together. What would draw these two together? How do these two puzzle pieces fit? And how do you know that they fit, and why do they fit? I'm really looking into this here. I'm really examining it. It seems obvious at the surface because they're both kind of goofy, so they probably fit really well together. But I feel like there's more to it than that. It's not even the fact that they're both of similar ages. She's stopping time. It's almost like these two are in the sphere. We're also standing in the sphere, observing and contemplating and talking. I also feel sort of like the energy of the universe and the stars is above and upon us and watching over us, guiding us. She shows me that they both carry fears. And it's, even though they look like a perfect match, how are they truly connecting with one another? So you're guided to another puzzle piece. And that puzzle piece you will discover either fits or it does not fit. But even puzzle pieces that fit, you may say they don't fit. So it takes time to truly get to know the other puzzle piece. But she shows that fears, self-conscious fears, worries about what the other is thinking, disappointing the other, not being enough, wanting to be more, being rejected somehow. It creates a barrier between these two, even if they're holding hands. They're not truly, fully united because fear separates them from an immaculate, it's like an immaculate conception of love. What love can become when fear is not in the way, when it's complete and utter. It's like letting go of yourself, being completely exposed, being completely vulnerable. How do you do that? She's showing me this scene with a woman who's vomited on this ground with the shackles, and this scene with the man and the woman, Merlin and Hecate, let's say. One is a very painful process, but how is this not a painful process too? When you live in fear, when there are insecurities, she starts to cry because sometimes you have a very difficult life moment and it could only take maybe 2 days to endure it. But then you could have what is potentially the most beautiful blessing of the universe and never fully embrace it. So what is worse kind of thing? I tell her that's very common for the human being to say, well, at least I have this and I don't have that, so I'm doing quite well for myself. So I feel like we're doing that here too, Hecate. She simply wants to show you about love and what love is capable of becoming. But what we hold on to are these underlying vulnerabilities that remain, these of fears of speaking or sharing or saying what it is that you actually want, or what you are actually worried about in reference to the other, and how uncomfortable these conversations can be. Very, very, very threatening and worrisome. But to expose those concerns will unite the puzzle pieces, will heal the wounds. It's the Immaculate Conception of love. Taking some time to look at both scenes. They're both here with me. And I look back at Hecate and I say, what else would you like to share with us? I'd been talking about identity and fear of self-expression and exploring the human mind, the ego. Perhaps you're wanting to share a different message with us. She's crying tears again. She says the human cries. And what makes the human cry? We could define it as loss, defeat, fear, grief, joy even. Maybe there's something deeper than that. She's really encouraging me to slow down, to bring peace to this message, to relax more. There's something important about it. She's not going to rush this conversation, and I should not rush it either. When we slow things down, she shows me that she goes to Merlin. And she holds Merlin's hands and she looks into Merlin's eyes. And she sees another universe. And she sees the depths of her own soul through his soul. She's blessed by his soul, blessed by love, blessed by this connection. That is her individual experience. What does Merlin then see? She smiles and she says that's the mystery and the challenge of being human. You can know so many things about your own feelings that the other will not be able to follow or comprehend because their emotions and thoughts, their ways are different. She shows me a woman who is in love and will give anything because this love inspires her to give, to heal, to bring joy to the one that she loves, and she would give her very soul. She shows me Merlin hasn't even blinked this whole conversation. He hasn't moved, he hasn't spoken. How do you know what the other is feeling if that feeling is reciprocated? It's almost like you could love someone so much, but they'll never meet you at the same level. And you could continue to love them so much, and that could challenge the relationship. The abundance of love that you have to share could then challenge them. Could challenge the match of the puzzle pieces. She says about loving yourself is important in the process. You ever give so much of yourself, and later on you wonder why you did that? You have to love yourself still for every choice that you ever made. She shows me giving of the soul. So now she gives her soul to Merlin. And she continues to give and give and give. It's almost like she's slowly drying up inside. That this infinite love that her spirit has for Merlin, if at some level it is not reciprocated and she continues to give and give and give, she will dry up inside and die inside and become lost in what love is, what her love is. She will wonder why he doesn't return the love. It's an empty relationship now. Where we once thought there was something there, there was only you there, giving to somebody who did not give in return. And she starts to cry because of the generosity of some souls is awing, and what they can give to other souls. Merlin is stepping in, and it's as if he's talking about communication. What is missing from the relationship here? What is then Merlin teaching Hecate? And Merlin is saying there is no right or wrong in a relationship. You could have one who seems like the scoundrel that just takes, and then you have one that is so loving and so giving. It seems like the one that is generous is the good. The one that takes is the bad. But both are teachers and both are students. Therefore, there's balance. Merlin points out that Hecate had never asked him how he actually feels about her. had never stopped to try it differently or to expect more for herself. Exploring the balance of love. Merlin takes me to a scene where I see it makes me feel like it's Russia, and it's quite a ballroom, and there's beautiful gowns that the women wear and the men are very sharply dressed. There's something about furs, animal furs are keeping warm in a cold winter, and I see them dancing in this ballroom, many people dancing. And it's like a music box moment where everything is perfect. The dance is perfect, the music is perfect, everything is perfect. It's almost like the fantasy we all have of the perfect lover, the perfect relationship. But relationships are about challenge and vulnerability and the discovery of the other puzzle piece. Maybe there are no puzzle pieces that actually fit. Maybe none of the puzzle pieces actually fit. What develops that fit, that connection? I show Merlin and Hecate where I am vibrationally and how the music sounds here. Not in the ballroom, but in the message itself. It's a bit, it's like a kind of escape of the mind. It's like a daydream in a way, a wondering about things. But what does this all boil down to? What does this all mean? What are you trying to say to? What are you sharing exactly? It's all going silent now. I'm following a new thread of information. And that thread is taking me up the stem of a flower. And as I go through the stem in the darkness, I reach the bud where I experience the sunlight. There's something about the dance of life and all the different ways that we as human beings process our realities. And it's interesting because how many of us really want to cry, especially cry in front of other people. It's a new appreciation for those tears, the preciousness of the release of emotions. The exploration of the balance of love and how love can be challenging and can be confusing. But how, no matter which side, it is the teacher teaching you more about yourself. There can definitely be moments that we could define as the perfect dance with the perfect ball gown and the perfect suit, the perfect companion, the perfect music, the perfect lighting, perfect moment. It almost feels artificial, Almost feels like the root of that is much more than the perfect moment. It goes deeper than that. It's all the different parts of yourself that lead you to each moment, that challenge you through those moments. This flower experience is so simple. It's so simple to go through the stem and up to this bud and to just experience the sunlight. It's almost like being a butterfly in a way. It's the simplicity. There's no challenge to it. But the ballroom, believe it or not, has challenge to it. To make sure that you look that perfect, to make sure that you dance that well, to make sure that you even reach a level in society of that kind, to find some idea of the perfect match, or to pretend you're the perfect match. So what is perfection really? When you weigh the experience of the flower bud and the sunlight versus the experience of this perfect dance, which would you choose? You start to feel how heavy and difficult this perfect moment actually is, and how truly abundant this moment is. Peaceful, freeing of all the senses, not having to be anybody for anybody, just enjoying the sunlight. It's almost like, again, looking at the lifetimes of the human, or even a single lifetime of the human, and all the different ways that we put together that lifetime. But she's really wanting to focus too on relationships. And I say, Hecate, if giving to Merlin without receiving from Merlin dries you up, then why are you still connected to him? Why are you still exploring giving to him? And she says that it's no longer, it's like, it's a confusion about loving herself. To make another happy then will make her happy. But what about her? It's just the message. Is that a good message, do you think? I want there to be more of a pronounced comprehension of it all. And maybe that's for us to explore our relationship with the different things that Hecate had to share, or even what I had to share. Gonna have to ponder this one for a while. Definitely wasn't intimidating, but it was relaxing. It's kind of like being in a, it's almost like you ever kind of go into your thoughts for a while and you really wonder why you spent the time. You just needed to have those moments with those thoughts. But yet the thoughts are so precious, they're so valuable. They give us the best of some idea of sense that we could make about ourselves and our lives at that time. And that's all we'll ever know at that time. All right. That's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this was enjoyable for you. If any of you are interested in exploring a psychic session with me, please visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. Okay, everybody, thanks again for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day.